Well, this just can't be right, Ambassador Derek Walker growled, slamming his appendage against the holographic display, causing it to flicker. These humans and their perplexing organizational systems, how do they even get anything done? The towering Ferocious diplomat, with his crystalline exoskeleton and 4 pairs of glowing eyes, stood before the massive data wall in the embassy's analysis chamber. Around him, junior analysts hurried about the bioluminescent market, their anxiety palpable, while their superiors' frustration radiated through the room. "Ambassador," one brave analyst said, his voice wavering, "perhaps we should consult with our human liaison. There must be a logical explanation for these discrepancies." Derek Walker fixed all 8 of his eyes on the speaker, narrowing them with laser-like focus. "Analyst Eli Hudson," he rumbled, "please enlighten us. Which particular discrepancy has caught your attention?" The young analyst stepped forward, his crystalline form shimmering in the light. "Sir, it seems that across several human military branches there's a rank that doesn't align with their own hierarchy. They refer to this person as Doc." "Go on," Derek Walker urged, his interest piqued. "According to our observations," Eli Hudson continued, "a Doc has the authority to override orders from superior officers, command respect from even the toughest warriors, and, most strangely, instill fear in beings of every rank, from the lowest grunt to the highest general." Derek Walker clicked his mandibles thoughtfully, a sound that made the junior analyst's exoskeletons vibrate uncomfortably. "Show me the evidence." The holographic display shifted, showing various recordings from human military installations. In one, a high-ranking officer practically leaped out of his exoskeleton, or would have, if he'd had one, when a much lower-ranked Doc appeared behind him. In another, a battle-hardened sergeant meekly complied with the prodding and examination of a Doc. "Most peculiar," Derek Walker mused. "Summon Commander Tyler Brooks. If anyone can explain this anomaly, it's our surprisingly competent human liaison." Minutes later, Commander Tyler Brooks strode into the analysis chamber, his boots clicking sharply against the crystalline floor. Despite being surrounded by beings twice his size, he carried himself with the easy confidence that had made him well-liked by the Ferocious and the diplomatic corps. "Tyler Brooks," Derek Walker said with a slight bow. "You were summoned." "Ah, Commander Tyler Brooks," Derek Walker continued. "We find ourselves perplexed by an aspect of your military structure that seems to defy all logic. Please, explain to us why this Doc rank appears to override your established chain of command." Tyler Brooks's face split into a wide grin. "Oh, you've uncovered that little oddity, have you?" He chuckled, making the junior analysts exchange confused glances. "Well, Ambassador, you've opened a real can of worms." "Worms?" Derek Walker asked, his confusion evident as ripples of color ran across his exoskeleton. "I see no annelids in this discussion." "It's a figure of speech," Tyler Brooks said, holding back more laughter. "Let's just say understanding the true power of a Doc requires more than just analyzing rank structures and behavior patterns." Derek Walker leaned forward, all 8 eyes fixed on Tyler Brooks. "Fascinating. Are they perhaps enhanced warriors, beings with special genetic modifications, wielders of your mysterious human magic known as science?" Tyler Brooks's laughter echoed through the chamber. No, and well, sort of, on that last one, but trust me, the reality is far more interesting than any of those guesses." "Then enlighten us, Commander," Derek Walker said eagerly. "Why do these Docs command such respect? Why do hardened warriors cower at their approach? And why do even your highest-ranking officers submit to their authority?" Tyler Brooks's expression grew serious. "Ambassador, to truly understand this, you'll need to see it firsthand. How about a field trip to one of our forward operating bases?" Derek Walker's exoskeleton rippled with excitement. "First-hand observation? Now that's what I call proper research methodology." He turned to analyst Eli Hudson. "You're coming with us. Someone needs to document this phenomenon." As they prepared to depart, Tyler Brooks muttered under his breath, "Oh, you have no idea what you're in for." His words, though quiet, were loud enough for analyst Eli Hudson's ultra-sensitive hearing. Eli Hudson felt his exoskeleton shift slightly in unease at the human's ominous tone. The mystery of the all-powerful Doc was about to unfold, and something told Eli Hudson his understanding of human military structure would never be the same again. "Analyst Zoe King," Ambassador Derek Walker announced, his crystalline form looming over the research terminal. "Your new assignment is to decode these informal human military designations. Focus particularly on this doc phenomenon." Zoe King, her iridescent markings pulsing with nervous energy, bobbed her head in acknowledgement. "Yes, Ambassador. Though I must admit, the human military already has me thoroughly confused. Just yesterday, I observed a human called Sarge being reprimanded by someone referred to as Chief. Neither of them was actually their formal rank. Then a doc walked in, and everyone scattered like startled Kareem cubs. Commander Tyler Brooks, leaning against a crystal pillar with his arms crossed, tried to suppress a grin. Having trouble with our nickname system? Nickname system? Zoe King blinked rapidly with her upper eyes while her lower ones narrowed in concentration. You mean these aren't secret rank designations? Not exactly, Tyler Brooks replied, pushing himself off the pillar. Here, let me show you something interesting. He gestured to the display. Bring up the footage from Forward Base Echo from last month's engagement. The holographic display flickered to life, showing a chaotic battlefield. Plasma fire crackled through the air as human soldiers took cover behind makeshift barriers. Amidst the chaos, a figure in medical whites darted between positions. Here, Tyler Brooks pointed. Watch this doc in action. The aliens leaned forward, their exoskeletons gleaming as they watched. On screen, the medics sprinted across open ground, diving and rolling to avoid enemy fire while clutching their medical kit. Extraordinary combat maneuvers, Derek Walker exclaimed, his awe evident. Is this a doc actually receiving special operations training? Tyler Brooks snorted, clearly skeptical. No, that's just Dr. Lucas Foster doing whatever it takes to get to her patient. The footage rolled on, showing the medic reaching a wounded soldier, but the next scene caused all the alien analysts to step back in shock. By the crystal moons, Zoe King gasped. The doc just yelled at a colonel, and I quote, "Get your shiny brass butt out of the way." Yeah, that's pretty standard, Tyler Brooks said with a chuckle, as if this was no surprise. But the chain of command? Derek Walker sputtered, his exoskeleton flashing rapid patterns of distress. Ambassador, Tyler Brooks spoke carefully, trying to keep a straight face. When it comes to patient care, docs outrank God. It's just how it works in our system. The footage continued, showing more scenes of medical personnel in action. The aliens were transfixed as docs performed emergency procedures while under enemy fire, barked orders at their superiors, and somehow kept the gravely wounded alive despite overwhelming odds. Remarkable, Zoe King muttered, scribbling notes rapidly. They seem to possess some form of battlefield authority override, perhaps through technological means or intense psychological conditioning. No fancy tech involved, Tyler Brooks corrected, shaking his head. Just a medical degree, endless training, and a personality that allows you to tell a Marine captain to shut up and hold still while you stitch him up. Derek Walker began pacing, his crystalline legs clicking sharply on the floor. This defies all logic. In our forces, rank is absolute, but these docs, they don't just follow the chain of command, they seem to exist outside it entirely. Oh, it gets better, Tyler Brooks added, a mischievous glint flashing in his eyes. Just wait until you see what happens when someone tries to skip their annual physical. The holographic display shifted again to show a new scene. A burly master sergeant trying to sneak past the medical bay. The doc's voice rang out, sharp and commanding. Master Sergeant Phillips, don't you dare take another step. The sergeant, a seasoned combat veteran who had faced down alien hordes without flinching, froze in place as if he were a young cadet caught sneaking out after curfew. Fascinating, Zoe King exclaimed, her exoskeleton flickering with interest. Some sort of vocal paralysis technique? Tyler Brooks burst out laughing. Nothing that complicated. Just the universal truth that you don't mess with the doc. They can, and will, make your life miserable if you skip a medical check. But how do they maintain this power? Derek Walker demanded. Why don't higher-ranking officers just what, Ambassador? A new voice interrupted, drawing the alien's attention. A human woman in medical whites stood in the doorway, arms crossed and one eyebrow arched in quiet challenge. Tyler Brooks's grin grew wider. Ambassador Derek Walker, analyst Zoe King, allow me to introduce Dr. Lucas Foster, the very same doc you just saw in that combat footage. The room's temperature seemed to drop a few degrees as Dr. Lucas Foster fixed them with the look. That particular expression medical professionals acquire after years of dealing with unwilling patients. I couldn't help but overhear your conversation about military medical authority, Dr. Lucas Foster said, her voice smooth. Perhaps you'd like to observe our procedures firsthand? I believe several of your staff members are due for their xenophysiology baseline assessments. The aliens instinctively took a step back, their exoskeletons lighting up with alarm patterns. Even Derek Walker, a seasoned diplomat who had faced down hostile negotiations with warrior races, appeared to shrink just a little. Now, Doc, Tyler Brooks interjected, trying and failing to suppress his amusement. Let's not traumatize our diplomatic corps just yet. They're still trying to wrap their heads around why Doc's command so much respect. Respect? Dr. Lucas Foster smiled in a way that made Zoe King's hand start shaking as she wrote her notes. Oh, we command respect because everyone, and I mean everyone, eventually needs our help. And when that moment comes, you want to be remembered as the cooperative patient who didn't make our job harder. As if to underscore her point, she pulled out a medical scanner. Speaking of which, Commander Tyler Brooks, you missed your last 3 post-mission checkups. Tyler Brooks's grin vanished as he quickly checked his watch. Well, would you look at the time? I believe the ambassador and I have a very important meeting to attend. Sit down, Commander, Dr. Lucas Foster ordered calmly, her tone firm. Tyler Brooks obediently sat, and Derek Walker and Zoe King watched in amazement as the mighty human liaison meekly submitted to the doc's examination. Their confusion deepened as they witnessed more of this unusual and unexplainable power dynamic. Most perplexing, Zoe King muttered, her eyes still glued to her notes. Perhaps we should classify them as some sort of specialized combat shamans, warrior healers with mystical authority? Derek Walker shook his head slowly. No, analyst Zoe King, I believe we've only scratched the surface of this mystery. We need more data, far more data. Just as Dr. Lucas Foster finished with Tyler Brooks and turned her attention to the aliens, her smile widened ever so slightly. Did someone say they needed more data? The sound of several crystalline exoskeletons gulping in unison echoed through the chamber. The forward operating base buzzed with activity as Ambassador Derek Walker and analyst Zoe King followed Commander Tyler Brooks through the maze of prefab buildings. Their crystalline forms caught the curious gazes of passing soldiers, but no one stopped to stare. They were all too focused on their tasks. Our timing is perfect, Tyler Brooks said, gesturing toward the medical bay. Here comes the legendary Mad Dog Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter. A tall, gruff-looking man in slightly blood-stained medical whites stormed past them, barking orders into a comm unit. I don't care if he's a colonel, lieutenant, or the Queen of England. If he's bleeding, he sits his behind down and waits his turn like everyone else. Zoe King's exoskeleton flickered in confusion. Mad Dog? I thought humans reserved such aggressive names for their fiercest warriors. Tyler Brooks chuckled. Trust me, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter earned that name. Just wait and see. The scene erupted into controlled chaos as warning sirens blared. 3 combat vehicles screeched to a halt outside the medical bay, their sides scorched with plasma burns. Multiple casualties incoming, someone shouted. 4 critical, 6 walking wounded. Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter transformed before their eyes. His voice, already commanding, took on an edge that made even the battle-hardened soldiers snap to attention. Baker Jones! Prep Bay 1 for immediate surgery! Martinez! Triage the walking wounded! Someone get me a damned plasma infuser, and if anyone dares to pull rank in my medical bay, they'll be sipping through a straw for the next week, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter barked as he dove into action. His hands moved with remarkable precision as he assessed the first critical patient, a young soldier with a gaping chest wound. Sir, a nervous lieutenant stammered, holding up a tablet. Command needs you to fill out the casualty reports. Does it look like I'm filling out paperwork right now, son? Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter snapped, not even bothering to look up. Either grab some GW and assist, or get out of my medical bay. The lieutenant scrambled out of the room as if his life depended on it. Fascinating, Zoe King whispered, taking frantic notes. The doc enters some sort of combat trance. It's like our warrior casts, but not quite. Not combat, Tyler Brooks corrected, his voice quiet but firm. This is something entirely different. Keep watching. For the next 2 hours, the aliens stood in awe as Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter and his team fought battle after battle, not against enemy forces, but against the relentless march of death itself. The doctor cursed, sweated, and occasionally threatened divine intervention, all while refusing to let a single patient slip away. "You are not dying on my table today, soldier," Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter bellowed at an unconscious Marine whose vital signs were plummeting. "I've got 3 kids at home waiting for their dad, and you're going to see them again, even if I have to drag you back from the afterlife myself." Derek Walker's upper eyes widened in realization. "They don't fight enemies, they fight death," he muttered, a slow understanding dawning. Tyler Brooks nodded somberly. "And they hate losing more than any warrior you've ever met." Just then, a high-ranking officer stormed into the medical bay, his face flushed with fury. "Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter, I demand to know why my men haven't been cleared for duty yet. We have a mission to maintain." The room's temperature seemed to drop by at least 20 degrees as Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter slowly turned, his gaze sharp enough to cut through steel. The look in his eyes made even the most hardened combat veterans take several cautious steps backward. "Colonel," Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter's voice was dangerously soft. "Are you presuming to tell me how to run my medical bay?" The colonel stumbled over his words, his voice faltering. "Well, because last I checked," Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter said coldly, his tone like a blade, "those bars on your collar don't mean you can tell the difference between a scalpel and a screwdriver. Your men will be cleared when I say they're cleared, not 1 second sooner. Are we clear?" "But the mission—" Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter stepped forward, his bloody gloves held high like weapons. "Let me explain something to you, Colonel. Your mission will fail if I send out troops who aren't fit to fight. They'll die if I clear them too soon, and then I'll have to write letters to their families, explaining why they won't be coming home. So unless you've magically gone to medical school while I wasn't looking, sit down, shut up, and let me do my job." The colonel sat, visibly deflated, not daring to argue further. Zoe King's notepad was practically smoking as she scribbled furiously. "Unprecedented such authority, such care," she whispered, her voice awestruck. "It's not about authority, is it, Commander?" Derek Walker's voice was thoughtful, as if the words were beginning to make sense. Tyler Brooks shook his head slowly. "No, it's about responsibility. Every life on this base is their responsibility. They carry that weight every day, in battle, in surgery, in every decision they make. That's why they can tell a colonel to sit down and shut up. That's why the toughest Marine turns into a frightened kid when the doc calls their name. Because at some point, everyone needs the doc. And the doc never forgets that." They watched as Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter finished with his last patient, peeling off his bloodied gloves with a grunt of satisfaction. The doctor was exhausted but victorious. "All patients stable," he announced, his voice gruff. "Good work, everyone. Someone get me a coffee, and the casualty report. Oh, and has anyone seen my left shoe?" It was then that Derek Walker noticed the doctor was indeed missing a shoe somewhere in the chaos. Somehow, this small detail brought the gravity of what they had just witnessed into sharper focus. "Commander Tyler Brooks," Derek Walker said slowly, his voice tinged with new respect. "I believe we owe your medical corps an apology." "Oh?" Tyler Brooks raised an eyebrow. "For what?" "We thought they commanded respect through some form of authority or power," Derek Walker began, his tone thoughtful. "We were wrong. They command respect because we're too busy saving lives to care about rank." Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter, limping over on his one-shoed foot, interjected with a grin. "Though the power to make anyone drop and give me 20 push-ups if they skip their physical is a nice perk. But the training? The preparation?" He shrugged. "You learn everything you can, because you never know when you'll need it to save a life." Speaking of which, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter fixed Derek Walker with a stern look. "Ambassador, While you're here, when was your last thoracic cavity scan? Derek Walker's exoskeleton shifted from its usual crystalline sheen to nearly transparent. That is, I believe I have an urgent diplomatic communication to attend to. Sit down, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter ordered, his tone calm but firm. This won't hurt a bit. You're lying, Derek Walker said, his voice betraying the slight tremor in his mandibles. Tyler Brooks coughed into his hand. Commander, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter smiled sweetly. Would you like to discuss those vaccination boosters again? Tyler Brooks suddenly developed an intense interest in the ceiling tiles as Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter prepared for the examination. As Derek Walker finally submitted, he began to understand the doctor's true authority. It didn't come from rank or regulation. It came from a commitment, from knowledge, from a fierce, unyielding dedication to preserving life. Any life, all lives, no matter the circumstances. You know, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter said conversationally as he wielded something that looked suspiciously like a bone saw. In the old days, military doctors used to be combatants too, carried weapons, fought in battles. These days we fight different battles, harder ones, sometimes against death itself. Against time, Derek Walker muttered, his voice trailing off as he winced, feeling something pinch during the exam. Against bureaucracy, especially against bureaucracy. Now hold still, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter warned. This next part is going to feel a bit strange. Zoe King, still furiously taking notes, looked up as a peculiar sound echoed through the medical bay. Ambassador Derek Walker, the dignified representative of the mighty Thyrixus Empire, was giggling. Fascinating, Zoe King muttered, jotting down the observation. Even our most hardened warriors never giggle during medical procedures. That's because your doctors never found your species' ticklish spots, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter grinned. Amazing what you learn from studying xenophysiology. Now, Ambassador, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter said, his smile widening, about that overdue vaccination schedule. The sound of a crystalline being attempting to swear in 5 different languages while trying desperately not to laugh would become legendary in the base's medical logs. Top priority transmission to Zalcorian High Command from Ambassador Derek Walker. Subject: Human Military Medical Personnel Analysis. Classification: Extremely important and slightly terrifying esteemed members of High Command. I must begin this report by formally requesting an immediate revision of our understanding of human military structure, particularly regarding their medical personnel. Our previous assessments were, as a human might say, hilariously wrong. First, let me correct several misconceptions. Docs are not secret super soldiers. They are something far more impressive. The title Doc is not, as previously theorized, an acronym for Destroyer of Commanders. Their power does not stem from some forbidden human magic, despite what analyst Zoe King initially concluded after witnessing Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter reduce a colonel to stammering incoherence with just a raised eyebrow. The truth, honored leaders, is far simpler and far more profound. I observed their medical personnel during what humans refer to as a mass casualty event. Through this experience, I witnessed their true nature. These individuals, these docs, don't merely save lives. They fight battles that make our fiercest warriors look like cadets during their first simulation. They battle death itself, and far more often than not, they win. Consider this. During the incident, I witnessed Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter perform emergency surgery on both humans and a Zalcorian crew member. He had memorized our anatomy in his spare time, a concept I now believe doctors invented as a cruel joke, just in case the knowledge was ever needed. Important tactical note. When a doc says, "This won't hurt a bit," understand that they are waging psychological warfare. Do not believe them. I speak from bitter experience. The true source of their authority has become all too clear. These humans command respect, not through rank or regulation, but through a relentless commitment to preserving life, any life, all life. They fight for a private with the same ferocity they would for a general. And when they need to, they will tell that general to sit down and be quiet, using the same tone one might use to scold a disobedient child. Most disturbingly, I must report that their influence is spreading. On my final day of observation, I witnessed several of our own medical personnel adopting human medical traditions. Most notably, Dr. Zixa has started using what humans call the look. This morning, 3 hardened warriors fled the medical bay when she tested it. The effects on morale have been notable. Compliance with medical protocols has increased by 47%. This morning, I overheard a junior medic tell a squadron commander, "With all due respect, sir, either sit down and let me finish this examination, or I'll sedate you and do it anyway." I am both proud and slightly terrified to report that the commander sat down. To demonstrate the profound effect these changes have had, I've attached video documentation from yesterday's incident in Medical Bay 6, where our newly trained staff handled their first mass casualty situation using human protocols. The results were beyond impressive. Commander Tyler Brooks suggests we classify this phenomenon as when the healers become scarier than the warriors. This assessment is accurate, if a bit understated. Addendum: Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter has somehow obtained my complete medical history and is insisting on performing what he calls a full workup. If I do not survive this procedure, please inform my clutchmates that I died bravely, trying to explain why I missed my last 3 physicals. Final recommendations: immediately implement human medical training protocols across all Zalcorian military installations. Issue a formal warning to all command staff about the dangers of skipping medical appointments. Begin a mandatory exchange program between human and Zalcorian medical personnel. Install better hiding places in medical bays for reluctant patients. Initiate research into why all doctors, regardless of species, seem to enjoy giving bad news when their patients are in compromising positions during examinations. As I conclude this report, I must share one final observation. During the crisis, I witnessed Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter perform surgery for 6 hours straight. He saved 11 lives, including 1 Zalcorian's, lost his left shoe, consumed enough stimulant beverage, what humans call coffee, to kill a small herbivore, and then immediately began checking on patients he had treated days ago. When asked why he pushed himself so relentlessly, his response was illuminating. Because every one of those soldiers is someone's child, someone's parent, someone's mate, and I promise to take care of them. In all my years of diplomatic service, I have never encountered a more terrifying or more admirable group of individuals. Urgent final note. Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter has just informed me that this report must be delayed, as I am dramatically overdue for several vaccination updates. Send help. Or better yet, don't. I've seen what happens to those who try to interfere with a doc's ordained duties. With deepest respect and slight muscle soreness from numerous injections, Ambassador Derek Walker, P.S. To the first person reading this report, yes, you do need to schedule that physical you've been putting off. Trust me, they will find out. They always find out. P.P.S. Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter has somehow obtained a copy of this report before I even sent it. I don't know how, but I'm starting to believe analyst Zoe King's theory about medical magic might have some merit. End transmission. Later that day in the medical bay. Well, Ambassador, Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter grinned as he reviewed the report on his tablet. I think you've captured the essence of our profession quite nicely, Derek Walker grumbled, rubbing his sore exoskeleton. You still haven't explained how you got access to that report before I sent it. Professional secret. Dr. Jake Mad Dog Carter winked, then looked pointedly at Derek Walker. Now, about those booster shots? The unmistakable sound of a crystalline being trying to sneak out of a medical bay, followed by the all-too-familiar sound of a doc clearing their throat, echoed through the corridor. Some traditions, it seemed, were truly universal. Analysis. Report. Transmission addendum subject. Human military medical personnel. Behavioral phenomenon. From Ambassador Derek Walker, Zalcorian Diplomatic Corps, to High Command observations and recommendations. Upon further reflection, I now see that the medical personnel of the human military are unlike anything we've encountered. They do not merely serve their purpose, they transcend the very definition of medical professionals. They become warriors in their own right, fighting to preserve life against all odds, even when faced with insurmountable challenges. And they have a system that commands, not through authority or power, but through sheer force of will. I strongly advise a reevaluation of our diplomatic protocols with respect to human military medicine. If we are to continue our alliance, We must recognize the unique power these docs hold. They will not yield, nor should we expect them to.